Hi everybody, David Dilling from Markzware here, and today we're here with yet another exciting release, FlightCheck 6.80. That's right, FlightCheck, the standalone application for Macintosh, is now out with QuarkXPress 9 as well as Adobe Creative Suite CS5.5 support. Also, let's not forget, this version will also work under Lion or macOS 10.7. This is a very exciting release. For once again, FlightCheck is a tool that not only can pre-flight all your DTP file formats that you commonly use, however, it will also allow you to package not only Quark and InDesign files, but also Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop font files. Well, what I mean is it'll collect your entire Photoshop file or your entire Illustrator document with all the artwork. That's right, still the one. FlightCheck, after all these years, Old Faithful, out with another version. And now I'd like to go give you a little demonstration on some of the new features and functions and a little review on how FlightCheck can help you pre-flight and package all of your graphic designs. Alright, let's go check it out. Graphic designers, publishers, Prepress Operators, printers, just cruise on over to the FlightCheck product page on Markzware.com and select FlightCheck here. If you cruise down a bit, you'll see there is a download 30-day free trial version. Let's just jump right to that. Of course, we click download. A new window opens with a link to our web store. You'll see there's a nominal fee which is minused out. We simply hit checkout. Once you finish the order, you'll get the thank you screen. There, and also in the email you'll receive separately, will be your FlightCheck version 6.8 activation key or license code. So now, as a prepress operator or layout artist at a publishing company, you copy that code and you click here to get the download, the installer. The download takes mere seconds. You'll see we have a data folder which must stay here. Disabled rules and rules. These will be showing up in our ground controls, a very important part of FlightCheck. Please read the PDFs and release notes to get a full understanding of how to operate FlightCheck. However, it is quite simple and we'll show you quickly how to get started. Just double-click the FlightCheck icon application here. Okay, you'll see what pops up, and this will hold true if you want to use your full license code or just use the demonstration code that will work for 30 days, full working version. So as a graphic designer or prepress operator, you can get a real idea how it works in your workflow. Alright, so we've copy and pasted the code. We can either enter just the last digit part of the code, or we can just paste the entire code in here, which we'll do, and we hit next. At the very last part here, even though it says license for this system, please hit finish. FlightCheck 6.80 on our Macintosh here. Let's see how it can pre-flight and package QuarkXPress, Adobe InDesign, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, even PDF, EPS, TIFF, individual images. Let's see how it can pre-flight and package all the artwork that's used, even, for instance, fonts within EPS files that have not been embedded. Let's see how that works. Okay, so here's the FlightCheck flight strip up top. And it's very important to first go into the Showground Controls. And here in the ground controls, we can see all the different areas where FlightCheck can check for. For instance, in images, we can see all the different checks available for checking our images. You'll see we've set up a default set of checks that are, let's say, most commonly used to find the most common problems. These issues might include image scaling, trapping applied to your picture, transfer functions, an ICC profile used within images, and of course the list goes on. For instance, in colors, mismatched spot or process colors, unused spot colors. One small dot is a warning, and if you click twice, you'll get a big dot or square, which is to show it as an error. Warnings will show blue, errors red. We can check for hairlines and even adjust the width to be specific for our workflow, and transparencies, or if the ink coverage or CMYK values are too high for that page. And there's a lot more. We have excellent instructional tutorials on how to use the ground controls and FlightCheck in general on YouTube, and you can check out the link down below. Another tip with the ground controls in FlightCheck would be to collaborate with your printer or prepress operators or prepress department to help set up these pre-flight checks. It's very important so that you can make sure the checks will be valid for what you're trying to print. It is quite common for all workflows out there. There's the top 10 problems, and I recommend that you start by setting up the ground controls to check for at least the top 10 problems. You know, RGB images might be one of your top 10 problems. Missing or non-embedded fonts, certainly. Missing or non-embedded images, for sure. These sort of problems you want to definitely have checked for here in your ground controls. These ground controls can be exported or imported, and that's a great way for you to share with other designers in your workflow or other prepress operators if you're on the printing side. The beauty of FlightCheck is it's a tool for not only prepress and printing side of things, it's also a tool for graphic designers, graphic artists, and layout artists within publishing companies or advertising agencies. So that makes it a wonderful tool to sort of glue everything together from design through prepress right to the print shop. To pre-flight a file, you can drag and drop a file onto the FlightCheck icon, or you can just go here to File Open. You'll see very quickly FlightCheck gives us a FlightCheck results screen, and you'll notice in this case in red the particular problems that we have. In this particular file, we see non-CMYK Pantone colors used, an RGB image, a layered image, and this image uses an ICC profile. In the next screen, we'll get all the details of that file. In the main FlightCheck window, we can see the type of file it is, in this case, Adobe Photoshop CS5 file. We can get version information, date created, modified, and we see that ICC profile which was used. We get all the elements of the file, page info, print info, page list, and even supporting, which would be where you see plugins or extensions used. But the main area is your colors, fonts, and images is where you're going to get the most out of FlightCheck as a designer or prepress operator. For instance, in the image section, we can very quickly see this image has fonts used within it. In this case, of course it would, because it's a Photoshop, a .psd native file with fonts used, and we can get a small preview even of how that looks. Here's all the fonts which are used, and we can even open this image to edit it further if we wanted to. New in FlightCheck 6.80 for printers, publishers, graphic designers is the ability to pre-flight CS5.5 all files. So Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, PDFs created from those files as well. And also newly added is QuarkXPress 9 support. Now, this is very important because the new App Studio from Quark seems to be drawing some attention from InDesign users to check out Quark again. And we do have conversion tools, InDesign to Quark and Quark to InDesign, which might also be interesting to check out. Furthermore, in FlightCheck, we now have added macOS 10.7 or Lion support. This has been added also into the new FlightCheck version 6.80. Now I want to show you a very cool feature in this FlightCheck version 6.80, which is extremely handy for graphic designers as well as people archiving and on the printing side. And that is, how can we package a Photoshop file? How can we package Illustrator artwork? Well, let me show you how that works. So to package an InDesign file, to collect a QuarkXPress file, to package a Photoshop file with fonts is very easy with FlightCheck. It should be noted that InDesign CS5.5 or lower has no package feature for Photoshop, and for that matter also not for Illustrator, nor can they pre-flight the file in Photoshop or Illustrator as well. FlightCheck can do it all: InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, even Quark. You just go up here to what we call Collect Job. You select Collect Job and you'll get the next Collect screen. Let's call it the Package Job, but that's the Adobe terminology. Let's take a closer look at this window. It might not be the most beautiful window in FlightCheck, but it is perhaps one of the most powerful. The Collect Job window, or Package Job window, Has a lot of details. You can create an individual folder and even make a specific archive and location for that to be saved too. What I like, and a lot of our users like, is you can also compress the job. This makes it easy for you to send to the next party, for instance, as a designer to the printer, or as somebody as a layout artist within a publishing company to the prepress department. We can see the total file count and total job size uncompressed. We see here all the collectible or packageable file classes. We see the document itself, the font files, the suitcases used, the type 1 font files, and we'll even get a pre-flight report collected along with the file. Keep in mind, FlightCheck makes a copy of all these files. It does not send the original. Down below, you'll see the exact location where FlightCheck will gather all of these fonts and files from. Really, it's quite simple for the user. Once again, you pre-flight the job. You, of course, address any quality issues, and then you simply hit Collect Job and the Collect button. It's that easy. It happens so fast, if you blink, you'll miss a file with the name we just gave it. And if we decompress that, we'll get a folder. And in that folder, we'll get the report, the pre-flight report we just discussed. We'll see a copy of the .psd file and all the fonts used in that job. It was that quick. It was that easy with FlightCheck from Markzware. So those are some of the new features in FlightCheck 6.8.0. There's a lot more under the hood, so to speak. Here's a QuarkXPress document we just pre-flighted. And you'll see you can also do the same thing, collect the job, all fonts and images into one folder. There's a lot more that I'm not covering. In the preferences, for instance, we can go into a lot of details on relative paths and where to look for images other than in one particular location, maybe on another server. There's a lot of things like auto pre-flight detection, which is a very powerful set of rules where you can switch those ground controls we showed you earlier depending on the file type. So for a PDF file, you're going to have a different set of checks than for a native Illustrator file or for an InDesign file. Very powerful tools that are within the FlightCheck 6.8.0. Also under Views, Show Page Layout is vital for any designer or prepress operator that wants to actually go back and fix the problems found. We can click on any item and see exactly where it is in the document and even launch the document to go fix the problems ourselves. There is, like I said before, a FlightCheck flight strip where you can see all the nice icons and quickly go to page layout or your preferences or your ground controls. Very handy. All right, folks, that's been FlightCheck version 6.8.0 from Markzware. You can see that the tool is, once again, just like Old Faithful. It's still here after all these years. And it will pre-flight check Illustrator, Photoshop. Very important because many people don't even realize that FlightCheck can give a quality assurance check on those files, but also package all the fonts used in Photoshop, or package all the artwork and fonts used in an Illustrator.ai file. Extremely handy. And of course, it'll do the same pre-flight and package for Adobe InDesign and QuarkXPress, but now added Creative Suite 5.5 support, Quark 9 support, and Lion 10.7 support. If you want to buy FlightCheck today, which I recommend you do, just cruise on over to our webpage. To order FlightCheck, just go to the webpage markzware.com/products/FlightCheck and click the Buy Now button. It'll be one investment you'll be very glad you made. Not only will FlightCheck help you to find problems in your files, it'll help you to organize and package or collect all your files for archiving or sending to the next party. Extremely handy. With one application on the Macintosh, you can do all of these great things. Quality assurance pre-flight check and package not only InDesign and Quark, but also your Photoshop and your Illustrator artwork. Very handy to have around in the old toolbox. Thank you. David Dilling for Markzware, signing off.